Hey all, it's Nim or Nimicry if you're feeling professional, and welcome to the YouTube video. Now today we're going to be talking about tanks. Tanks are getting a buff. But before we do that, it's time to play nobody's favorite minigame, What's That Worth? So in a couple of seconds, I'm going to post an image on the screen. Before I post that image, it's your job to guess whether it's going to be above or below 50 gold in value. If you guess right, congratulations, you are the big winner. If you guess wrong, then your punishment is to subscribe to my channel, thereby getting you regular YouTube content directly into your feed. All right, you guys ready? In 3, 2, 1, boop. And as you can see, that is the Senvir tea set. Quite clearly, over 50 gold. In fact, 1,300 gold over 50 gold. So if you guessed wrong, you know what you need to do. You need to subscribe to my channel. If you're already subscribed, good job. You were ahead of the curve. Anyways, without further ado, let's get on to the video. Tanking. For some, it is the chosen role. Those who will stand as a bulwark. In fact, I have a bulwark to help. Bulwark, the bulwark of Azeroth specifically. They'll stand as a bulwark against the enemies and say, nay, casters, DPS, healers, I will protect you with my mighty meat shield. Other people may think, it's not that bad. You just taunt off stuff, you get taunted off, you get hit in the face a little bit. Basically, your job is to be professionally slapped in the face. A la demonstration. Boom. There it goes. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about tank mechanics and tank roles in the game. We're talking about some numbers tuning. So recently, I did a video on Demon Hunter bugs. There was a big one. It's being fixed. And overall, all tanks are changing. An article on Wowhead explains more. Upcoming tank tuning, a 10% overall damage reduction, Vengeance Demon Hunter magic damage bug. Blizzard has announced the upcoming tank tuning for the next weekly reset. This includes a 10% overall damage reduction for tanks and a fix for the Demon Hunter magic damage bug with some compensation. So the effects of the changes are as follows. We have our tank list, our physical damage reduction, and our magic damage reduction. So these are all the buffs that they're going to be getting. As you can see, it's pretty much across the board a 10% damage reduction for both physical and magic, with the sole exception being the Vengeance Demon Hunter having a 5% physical damage reduction. Now, you may be like, Nim, why is that? Well, that's because technically, even without the bug going off, Demon Hunters had the highest level of magic damage mitigation. And of course, you see your Blood Death Knight, your Vengeance Demon Hunter, your Guardian Druid, your Brewmaster Monk, your Prot Paladin, and your Prot Warrior. Hey, in the comments below, tell me who your favorite tank is to play, heal, or run with. Personally, Team Paladin. God, I love the Paladin. I love the Paladin in all aspects. I wish I enjoyed healing more, but that's neither here nor there. Now, in a post by Blizzard, here we go. So we're down in here. Recently, players observed that the Vengeance Demon Hunters seem to be receiving up to 15% less magic damage than expected. We've investigated and found the bug causing this. Really wish they would say what that bug was if the person doing the math was right, because I know the author of that study, or, well, I guess, study, the author of that experiment would really like credit, I think. And it would be nice to be like, hey, thanks for doing that. Maybe name an item after the person. After all, you're always in the need for new fantasy names, and players come up with fantasy names, so why not be like, hey, we'll call that person the Theory Crafter, or author's name, and name it, give him a necklace, or a BOE in the next expansion. Would be kind of cool. Anyways, when a specialization is overperforming in raid and dungeon content, we prefer to wait to rein them in until the next major patch that brings with it all new challenges, different gear, and other changes that shake up balance. That is a really good thing. Holy, that's a really good thing. That is an amazing thing. Because I brought up that exact point in the Demon Hunter bug, which is, okay, what if you're running with people, and now all of a sudden, whoop, things they could survive, they can't survive, and now progress, it's not even, forget progress, we're now in regression mode. We're going back, and 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 finally, with some gear and some more tuning, and maybe some player behavior changes, such as now we gotta tunnel the tank, or the class that got the tuning fix, or the bug fix, done. We have to tunnel them more. We'll eventually get back there, but it can be quite a rubber banding effect. This is because even if we're improving overall balance, mid-tier nerfs can cause entire groups to potentially struggle with the raid or dungeon content they could previously complete without issue, and this is especially true for the tank role. Yes, 100% it's true for the tank role, because the tank is the most visible thing. Just like this shield is very, very visible. You can see this shield on screen right now. In fact, like for the Bulwark of Asenath. Ignore for RNG screwing you. But when I fail as a tank, if I'm tanking, everyone knows it, because I went from being slapped in the head to my caster in a nightgown being slapped in the head. And sometimes it's not a slap, that's the friendly part. Sometimes they have swords and knives and guns, and sometimes, like, you know, big balls of death. Callback case. However, because of the magnitude of this bug, combined with extensive feedback about the current strength of Vengeance relative to other tank classes, we feel that we need to act quickly. We therefore plan to fix this bug during scheduled weekly maintenance next week, March 30th in this region, to reduce the impact of Vengeance tanks and their groups. We plan to make an additional change to offset the bug fix. We also want to address the feedback that we've heard about overall tank survivability in Shadowlands, especially in Mythic Keystone dungeons. Now, again, I've ran with a bunch of tanks. I've ran with bears, ran with blood DKs, both good and bad. In my general, a lot of the blood DKs I've ran with have been very good. Talk about parsing the 99% on raid, and they do pretty well in the Mythic Pluses. Now, granted, we weren't pushing super high stuff. We were doing like 10s, 12s, 13s, things like that, which, again, the majority of the player base doesn't get done, but it's definitely not the highest of end content. With the fix to Vengeance Demon Hunter bugs, we will increase the Vengeance Demon Hunter's passive demonic wards by 5%. In most situations, physical damage constitutes most of the damage suffered by tanks. The result should be a manageable increase in the total damage taken by Vengeance tanks. We will also adjust all other tank specializations passives, such as Veteran of Third War for blood DKs, to add an effect that reduces overall damage taken by 10%. Our aim is to improve tank durability for all tanks. We appreciate the community bringing this issue to our attention, and thank you in advance for feedback on these changes. Now listen, anytime, I said this in the Demon Hunter video, anytime you fix a bug that affects my ability to do something as I used to do it, you're gonna piss people off. It's gonna be perceived as a nerf. Now, it was very smart for them to buff all tanks across the board, or say, we're buffing all tanks across the board while doing a buff. Now, our Vengeance Demon Hunter brethren and sistren and those that lie betwixt, and I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry. I'm sorry you guys are kind of getting the nerf, but there was an overperforming bug. It was talked about. It was found. I'm sorry. Hopefully that this situation will pass. After all, I, being a Retribution Paladin, I know what it's like to be nerfed. I do. Sadness aside, this is a good thing. This is a healthy thing. This proves that if there's a real big problem, it can be tuned mid-patch. Now, again, they say they don't want to tune mid-patch, but with a meta, and there's always a meta, you can never create a perfectly balanced game. There's always going to be a meta. There's always going to be a different way to handle things unless you give everybody the exact same skills, and instead of saying, hey, this is a holy bolt of attack, it's actually a fell bolt of attack. If you do that, that's not real. That's more homogenization. And I think each class should play differently and should excel at certain things. I have no problem with that. Anyways, guys, so here's the thing. What do you guys think? What do you think of the tank changes? Do you think it's going to be fine? Do you think tanks are being pandered to? Do you think they should buff ret DPS? I mean, I do on that part, but outside of that, I think the tanks are fine. I think the tanks getting a 10% buff is going to be helpful, and it'll lead to overall greater success percentages in Mythic Plus and raids. God knows we've had people with those tanks that were like, oh my god, tank, just live, and maybe that extra 10% survival. Or there was a meme in Delusions of Grandeur where we could have gotten it down if only our tank had Purgatory. But he didn't. He took Red Thirst. And he's like, oh, I could have survived that. But if he gets rid of Red Thirst and he takes Purgatory, he loses a lot of output and survivability. And you could just survive for this one spike thing. So that's kind of a meme. It will always happen on our like 1% wipes. Like, oh, I could have survived that if I had Purgatory and we would have killed it. Well, you could have, would have, should have, but you didn't. Anyways, guys, if I missed anything, let me know in the comments below. On screen right now, you should see a list of names scrolling by. Those are my patrons. In the first 3 videos I did this in, I misspelled Evie's name, and I'd like to be officially on record that I've been both chastised and sorry for that, Evie. My bad. So, if you'd like to join the illustrious group of people who are on screen, you can do that at patreon.com/Nimicry. You can also follow the Twitter For any update, I tend to be on there the most, and there will be a link in the description for my personal Discord, which you can be down there and hang out and chat with Nim if you'd like. Anyways, my name was Nim. Keep gaming, enjoy life, and I'll see you in the next video.